Welcome to Values in Action, a program that explores values and decision making. We hope you recognize that the things this program asks you to reflect on and the skills it builds are useful to you and therefore worthy of your full and respectful application. I certainly appreciate the role values play in my own life. Knowing what I value and what other people and groups value helps me form strong and meaningful bonds that push me to be the best version of myself and someone who matters to others. My values also play a vital role in my determining what I do with my life and the actions I take on a daily basis. I hope the passion I have for this content comes across and makes this experience more enjoyable. This video and workbook component of the program will take approximately 90 minutes. Please try to limit distractions during this time. There is one planned break in the video, and I encourage you to use it. Please listen carefully to the following information. This program requires the submission by email of 2 documents, a workbook and an assignment. Please refer to the submission instructions in the workbook, which you must download from our website. To adequately complete the program, you need to complete various activities in the workbook while working through this video. There are instructions and prompts shared in the video that do not appear in the workbook. Please listen carefully and complete the workbook and assignment with integrity. Your submissions will be reviewed by an OSAP staff member, and inadequate submissions are returned for revisions. After submitting documents, please look out for an email from OSAP Educational Programs indicating whether you are required to make revisions and resubmit. When both documents have been submitted and evaluated as satisfactory, you will receive an email indicating that you have completed the program. Not submitting a satisfactory workbook and/or assignment by the due date will result in an alleged policy violation of failure to comply with a disciplinary decision. Let's get started. The first activity, Life Boxes, aims to get you thinking about how you became you. You'll see the page is divided up into quadrants entitled Childhood, High School, College, and Future. In each of these boxes, write about, draw, or express creatively a significant event or experience that occurred during that time of your life. Please pause your video and take a few minutes to do this. Thank you for sharing about yourself. Now, please go to the next page and answer the reflection questions for any 2 of your quadrants. What made that experience meaningful to you? And how did that experience impact your values? Please pause the video here and take another few minutes. Now that you are thinking about your values and where they came from, let's begin talking about why it is important to reflect on our values. The purpose of this class is not to tell you what you should value, or to tell you that what you did to get here was morally wrong. Rather, we want you to explore your values and what they look like in action as part of your decision making. Before we can have a successful conversation about values, it's important to understand what values are and where they come from. Think for a few seconds about these questions. What are values? Where do values come from? Who or what influences our values? Personal values are basically the things that are important to someone. More formally, they are broad, desirable goals that motivate people's actions and serve as guiding principles in their lives. Our values can come from many places, such as family, friends, religion, and culture. Where my values come from will be different to where your values come from. So, what do you think your top value is? Take a moment to think about it. The next activity will help you determine and define your values. Go to the What Do You Value activity in the workbook. Over the 2 pages are listed 17 values. Glance over the list briefly and add any values you hold that are not on the list. This activity should feel personal to you, so feel free to change the words the workbook uses to best describe your values. Pause the video here. Now, take some time to rank these values based on which are more or less important to you. Pause the video now. Thanks for doing that. Values can be taught, learned, and relearned throughout our lives. Additionally, our values shift as we progress through different life stages. Take some time to reflect on the following prompts and write your responses in the space provided in the workbook. How difficult was it for you to rank your values? Why do you think this was the case? How might you have ranked these differently 5 years ago? And 5 years from now? What might lead to this change? When have you experienced a shift in personal values? And what prompted the change? Pause the video now. Our environment, the people around us, our stage of life, and many other factors influence what we value and how we prioritize our values. For example, one student shared, "In high school, I valued friendship and social life more. But now being in college, I have to work harder to keep good grades, so my social life isn't as important." Evolving values isn't a bad thing. It's a natural consequence of changing environments and goals. Next, return to the ranking list. Choose your top 3 values and in your own words, define those values. There are no right or wrong answers for the definitions. We just want you to be thoughtful and honest in your descriptions. Pause the video now. How did that exercise go? What made it difficult or easy to produce your own definitions? Some common responses from your JMU peers when asked for their top 3 values are happiness, loyalty, responsibility, faith or spirituality, and independence or freedom. Do you share any common top values with your JMU peers? Why do you think personal definitions of values are different from person to person? Why is it important to define your values? Take a few minutes and write down your responses to these prompts. Pause the video here. Thank you for reflecting. So, why is it important to define your values? It's important because not knowing your personal values or the meaning behind them could lead to conflict or confusion with others or within yourself. Also, knowing your values brings awareness to what you believe in, which helps you to act with integrity. Next, we're going to do an activity that explores how we form opinions and make decisions based on our values. During this activity, you will be asked to share your perspective by plotting your opinion of an issue along a continuum from strongly disagree to strongly agree. For example, if on the first statement I somewhat agreed, I'd place a 1 here. If I disagreed with statement 2, I'd place a 2 here. All right, let's get started. Plot each of these statements. Stealing is wrong. Downloading music or video files illegally is wrong. Cheating is wrong. Social diversity is important. Alcohol is an important part of college social life. Academics are more important than my social life. I would rather spend time with my friends than my family. If you need more time to think, you can pause here. Now that you've expressed your opinions, let's link these explicitly to your values. Whether we are aware of it or not, our actions and attitudes are influenced by what we value. Referencing the prompts on the slide, please share your reasons for where you marked yourself on the thought spectrum for the 4 statements you are most comfortable sharing about. Be sure to reference your values in your responses. Pause the video here. Thank you for sharing. Where you stood on the attitude continuum is a personal choice, but your decision may have been derived from a value you inherited from a group you belong to. After you take a break, if needed, we are going to look at the challenge of belonging to multiple communities, which often have different value priorities. This is a good time to take a break if you need one. Feel free to pause the video and come back in 5 to 10 minutes. Welcome back if you took a break. We are all members of multiple communities. Sometimes the values of those communities can be in opposition to one another. That is, we find ourselves having to choose to do something that one group approves of, but another group does not. This is called a value conflict. While you may understand your values, you may not always recognize how acting on these values influences others on a daily basis. We want to encourage you to think more critically about how you act on your values and how these actions influence your communities, for better or worse. Let's start this by determining what communities you are currently a part of. Please move to the active citizenship part of the workbook. There are sections for 3 communities. First, use the space provided to name 3 communities you are a part of. These can be things like a hometown, your family, religious organizations, friend groups, residence halls, teams or clubs, or institutions. Pause the video to write them in. Now, complete the activity by adding 3 values you believe the community holds, your current action in the community, and how you would like to stay or become more involved in this community in the future. Pause the video now. Now that you have some communities firmly in mind, ask yourself, how do various communities communicate their values? Often, values are communicated formally, like in laws, rules, or agreements. But values can also be communicated informally, such as through normalized behaviors within the group, such as always looking out for each other, or always seeking ways to have more fun. It is important for each of us to understand that our membership in a group, or, if you prefer, as a citizen of that group, we have committed to respecting and acting in accordance with the values of that community. Let's look at our JMU community. JMU's mission statement is, "We are a community committed to preparing students to be educated and enlightened citizens who lead productive and meaningful lives." Think about what being an educated and enlightened citizen means to you. Why do you think this is JMU's mission statement? What are JMU's values? From the list of values we used earlier, students commonly suggest that JMU values intelligence, financial stability, active community membership, and independence. Next, return to your workbook and respond to the following prompts. Think about the values you and other students attributed to JMU versus your own values. How do they line up? How do they differ? How might the actions that led you to be in this class have had an impact on the perceptions of others upon you, either positively or negatively? How important is it for you that your values always match your actions? Pause the video here to work. Our actions don't always match our values for a number of different reasons, because we're human. Students are sanctioned to this class for a number of reasons. It could be that a decision was made that may not have been in line with the student's values, or perhaps it was in line with their values, but in conflict with the values of the university. In the modern world, we experience a lot of gray areas. Areas where there are no clearly right or wrong answers. In this program, we have explored your values and are examining how to deal with situations where your values come into conflict. It is important to understand that even actions based on values in which you believe strongly can have negative consequences, and that by continuing to take those actions, you are accepting the possibility of those consequences. Now, please write your responses to the remaining prompts in the active citizen activity. Describe a time when one community value conflicted with the value from another community. I assure you this has happened. Please give it thought and identify an example. And please don't use your policy violation as the example. Now, how did you decide to act in that instance? What did you consider when making that decision? Please pause the video here. What you have just described is called a value conflict. It is possible that you are doing this program because you violated a JMU policy based on a value you don't prioritize in the same way the school does, or at least did not in one instance. In fact, you may not agree with the policy you were found in violation of. It may not reflect something that you value at all. It is an important reflective exercise to ask whether you would make the same decision again, knowing what you have felt and experienced since then. Again, we are not trying to tell you what to value. We simply want you to have an intentional reflection on your decision making. In this last activity, the goal is to exercise and enhance your value-based ethical reasoning skills. The activity will reintroduce you to JMU's 8 key questions for ethical reasoning as tools to promote the thinking through of choices in the fullest way possible. Please move to the page in your workbook titled The 8 Key Questions. The 8 key questions can be used as prompts at the point of decision making to promote ethical actions. You may remember the acronym for CLEAR, which stands for fairness. How can I act equitably and balance legitimate interests? Outcomes. What achieves the best short and long-term outcomes for me and all others? Responsibilities. What duties and/or obligations apply in the situation? Character. What actions best reflect who I am and the person I want to become? Liberty. How does respect for freedom, personal autonomy, or consent apply? Empathy. What would I do if I cared deeply about those involved? Authority. What do legitimate authorities expect of me? And rights. What rights apply in the situation? The goal of these questions is not to give you a right or wrong answer to a dilemma. Instead, use the questions as a tool to see what considerations may be at play when you make a decision, small or large. Recall that conflicts can result when people have different values, leading to a clash of preferences and priorities. Ethical decision-making often involves weighing values against each other and choosing which values to elevate. On the next pages of your workbook, you'll see a number of ethical dilemma scenarios. Pick any 3 of the dilemmas and, in the space on the next page, use 3 of the 8 key questions to think through your response. Journal through your decision-making process in the space provided, and share how you would act in each scenario. Ensure you reference your values in your responses. Remember, we're not here to judge how you might act, so please share your true thoughts and decision-making process, not simply the one you think we want to hear. We are interested in helping you learn what you value and to provide skills and awareness so that your actions will align with your values. Thank you for working through this video and completing the workbook component of the program. Remember to submit the workbook as an email attachment in the doc or PDF format. Please don't link us to a cloud document. Before you go, please take note of the homework assignment you must also submit by the deadline provided to you. Not submitting both documents may result in a further alleged policy violation. Please remember also to look for an email confirming you have completed the program after submitting both documents. The assignment is to write about one current or upcoming ethical decision you need to make. These decisions are ones where you need to think through multiple options and then decide how to act in a way that most aligns with a set of values. Write a 1.5-page double-spaced paper detailing the decision and the action you are planning to take, or took. Include the following. What is the decision you need to make? What possible actions could you take? How would your top 3 values impact your decision making? How would any 3 of the 8 key questions impact your decision making? Which values or key questions were most helpful in making a decision, and why? Finally, how did you decide to act? Please explain your rationale. Thanks again for watching. We hope the program strengthened your skills and habits for value-based decisions as a member of the network of communities that mark the modern world. Goodbye and good luck with your future decisions.